They have already hit cars in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, even Biden's hometown of Scranton. And here now with reaction, Outkick founder Clay Travis and the chairwoman of the House Republican Conference, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. Congresswoman, look at what happened in New York, your state alone. You have this bodega worker. He's saying on tape, please, I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble. A guy comes behind the counter, attacks him, pushes him to the ground. He's forced to defend himself, and then he gets charged with second-degree murder. Can you explain that to me? How is that justice?
Well, it's not justice, Sean, and this is an example of the far-left woke DAs that not only do we have in New York State, particularly the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, who needs to be fired on day one when we elect a Republican governor, but we're seeing these progressive radical DAs across the country. Again, we're seeing Democrats and far leftists prioritizing the criminal rather than standing up for the rights of the victim. In the case of the bodega owner, of course there is a right to self-defense. We need safety and security. This is amidst a crime wave in New York State and across the country resulting from the defund the police rhetoric and policies that Democrats have been pushing from coast to coast. I am proud to stand with the bodega owners. They are speaking out. They are pushing back on, again, the woke policies of the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg.
Yeah, Clay, as you look at Merrick Garland and all the talk about parents at school board meetings being investigated as domestic terrorists. And I'm thinking, okay, what about all the people that are violent on the streets? What about the people threatening the Supreme Court justices, breaking the law and protesting in front of their homes, harassing and intimidating them? What about these groups that are out there slashing the tires of people that own an SUV?
Sean, I was one of those parents. I've got two young kids in elementary school, and I went and spoke at my school board. Side note, pay attention to who you're voting for on your school board. There's a lot of people out there who are parents, including me, that prior to COVID really didn't pay that much attention to what was going on at school board level elections. But you're right, Merrick Garland has been a disgrace. And he's been a disgrace because, as I'm sure the Congresswoman can attest, we know what would solve these issues. Put more police on the streets and put violent criminals behind bars. This is the 1990s all over again. And we are still behaving as if we are in a low crime environment. And it is a luxury of low crime environments to be concerned that you are punishing violent criminals too much. We don't have a low crime environment anymore, Sean. Murders went up 30% in 2020, the largest increase we've ever seen on a one-year basis. They went up another amount in 2021. I know they're going up again in 2022 all over this country. And why you're seeing that gentleman there who had the gun in Florida, so many people are feeling as if they have to take their own self-defense into their own hands, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. That's what people are doing all over this country. They're buying weapons because they don't trust the government, which has run police off and isn't responding quickly to crime calls to be able to defend them in the event that violence comes to their front porch.
Congresswoman, does the recent Supreme Court ruling on the Second Amendment, is that going to allow people, even in New York City, to have a pistol carry permit? Or is New York going to just ignore the U.S. Supreme Court?
Well, we've seen Kathy Hochul trying to double down on her unconstitutional anti-Second Amendment legislation. We're going to have to challenge that in the courts as well. Look, the Supreme Court ruling when it comes to the concealed carry permit process in New York, that was a win for the Constitution, a win for every New Yorker. I was proud to sign on to the amicus brief in support of that case, in support of the New York State Pistol and Rifle Association. Look, Clay is exactly right. We are seeing a crime wave in this country. Even in my district in rural upstate New York, we had a bank robbery in downtown Glens Falls, hometown USA. My congressional office is just a few blocks away. That is unthinkable for that community. We need to stand strong when it comes to defending our Second Amendment rights, standing up for the Constitution. And Clay also was right. If you look at the statistics this past year, first-time gun owners, they are women, they are minorities, because people want the right to defend themselves. And we are seeing that the demographic group is more diverse than ever before. So we will challenge these unconstitutional double downing of gun gun control laws that Kathy Hochul and Democrats in Albany are pushing. And again, I believe, Sean, that's one of the reasons why we're going to elect Lee Zeldin, the Republican governor in New York State, a once-in-a-generation opportunity to address this just abysmal record of Democrats in Albany.
We only have 30 seconds. We'll give you the last word, Clay.
Look, this is a reality. White, black, Asian, Hispanic. Congresswoman just talked about it. I'm blown away, Sean. You probably have heard about this a lot, too. The number of women who are saying, I'm fed up, they're buying guns and carrying them around in their purses. I've never seen anything like it. We have got to solve this issue, put the police back on the streets, hire more of them, let them do their job, and put violent criminals behind bars and keep them there so people don't have to feel like they have to defend themselves without the police presence.
And refund the police, don't dismantle them, and get rid of these insane no bail laws. For example, the bodega worker wouldn't have been attacked if we kept that guy in jail. He had a pretty long rap sheet. Thank you both.
You're exactly right.
Come back.